guys again. What are you doing tonight?
She finally showed up.
Yeah.
I heard her half an hour ago.
We was wondering when you was gonna finally get here.
Well, tonight we're camping like we do every night. Camping out.
Yeah. Just, I got some tenderloin here. I was just fixing to cook it up for dinner.
Deer, isn't it?
Yeah, deer tenderloin.
Fine looking deer.
Yeah.
You want to join us for supper?
Sure. Well, last time you guys were talking about some mountain men stories. Do you have time to share one with us?
Time.
We got all the time in the world.
That's all we got. Time. We'd love to tell you some stories.
Time.
Thanks.
Make yourself comfortable there and sit down, and we'll tell you about.
Well, remember that dinner we had with Osborne Russell?
Yeah, good. That was an educated man, Osborne Russell. He was a good man.
He was a good man.
Yeah. In fact, he came down in this area here, pretty close to where we're at.
Yeah, there's that one time, came down, it was just the north end of the valley here, Cache Valley.
Cache Valley, yep. Remember us talking to you about Cache Valley?
Yep. It's just right up north end of the valley. Wow, when was that? That was
1835.
1835, the spring.
The spring, yeah. It was in the spring because there was a lot of snow.
Yeah.
There was snow all over in the valley.
Yeah,
and
a lot of snow.
Them poor boys, they were pretty near starved to death.
Yeah, is in April, if I remember right.
Yep, April, and they had no food, no game was all out of here because they were smart enough to leave. But those poor guys, they were pretty near starved to death. Came in the valley, and I think they came onto the Bear River.
That's right.
The Bear River, came in the Bear River, started following that Bear River down. And
it was so swollen from all the spring runoff. They had a hard time finding a place to cross it. Remember that?
Yeah, because the bank it was all swollen up and flooding all over. The snow and ice had flooded over on it, and they took and followed it down a ways and finally found a place they could cross it. The only bare spot was on the south-facing slopes, and they got their horses and everything went across that creek, but
headed over to the east side of the valley up onto the mountains there.
Couldn't make very fast travel because of all the snow, and the horses were in poor shape, and then the men were in poor shape. I believe they had went like 10 days or more, hadn't it?
I think it was, at least 10 days.
10 days living off of roots.
Thistle root.
Thistle roots. You ever ate thistle roots?
That's a pretty poor diet right there.
You ought to try it sometime, thistle roots. You got to do a lot of thistles to get a little bit of root. Them boys, they were
pretty near starved to death. That's when they came across a couple of grizzly bear.
Yeah, two of them, I believe it was.
Yep, two big fat grizzly bears.
Two big fat grizzly bears.
Just came out of hibernation.
And all the men just wanted to chow down on it really quick, but they were smart enough not to do that.
Yeah, the problem with grizzly bear is they have worms and parasites.
You have to cook them really well. Good meat, though.
Yeah, good meat.
A lot of grease.
A lot of grease.
Good
but
meat.
You got
grease up the pots. And
you got to cook it real well.
So I believe what they did, from what he told us, is they took and they got the big guy. He said he was 6'6".
That was I think
says
you're right.
He never did nothing in a hurry.
He was
about
the
slowest,
most definite guy that you ever could imagine.
So they filled up, I believe it was those 4 pots.
Yep.
Four pots filled up.
They were big ones, like 3-gallon pots.
3-gallon pots. Filled them up, cut the meat up in little pieces, put them in those pots, put that big guy over it, stirring their stews, what they called it.
Yeah.
Kind
of poor stew, but I guess, it is what it is.
And they sat, and he wouldn't let nobody take anything out of that until he said it was done. I could imagine him sitting there and keeping those starving men away from that pot.
Yep.
And they kept bugging him and bugging him and bugging him, and then finally he said, okay, it's time. So they put the old salt and pepper in there, and they dished them up.
They dished it out, set it out to cool. It didn't cool much at all.
It hardly had time to cool before those boys would
just gobbled it right up.
Down. And I believe he said it was one of the best meals he ever had, considering they were starving.
I've been starving a few times, and
that next meal you have.
It's the best one you've
It's
ever had.
the best one you ever had. Yep, it was.
No matter what it is, it's
Yeah.
the best.
It's the best.